It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the Breakfast Club, where we bring you different issues, current affairs, politics, into Bulawayo, and all other things. But today, we are not talking politics. Yeah, someone might say that is political, but we are talking about an issue that is that has been on people's minds for the past month or so. We are talking about indaba parking. We know that way back about 2021, there was an approval by council which the parking in the city, and for some reason, probably we did not pay attention until the parking was actually introduced. And in the last 2 weeks, we have had a lot of, seen a lot of talking, people complaining that the parking is expensive, company ICO, Bulawayo, and so many other things. So we have decided to bring Abantu Council. We have Ubaba Mlungelo Kumalo, is the procurement manager. Slot Ndumiso Ndlovu, who is the acting senior security and traffic officer. I think you are claim is mod. But we have him here. Then Zenzele Lizwe Mabuza, TTI. So we are going to be talking to them about these issues. Gentlemen, let me say welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So let me start by Ubaba Mabuza. Congratulations for winning the tender. And did you bribe anyone to get the tender?
No, not at all, not at all. No, he is here to attest the procurement go to I akunjalo.
Okay. Before maybe mbuzo ukuthi wena wangapi wathi siqala sidlulisa indaba ukuthi lina alitholanga itender kuhle. Baba Kumalo, what process was done when Mabuza ezithola itender?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ndebele. Lapa, we're talking about a public-private partnership between City of Bulawayo and Tendy Investments Private Limited. So, ukuqala kwendaba le kwabonakala kule need ye-council ukuthi well, after a long time siqalise i-parking management system. We all know the issues associated le ndaba le. I think way back kwaba issues agcina spend a lot of time in court. But soon after the courts had cleared City Council to go ahead, sa hlala phansi sadingisisa ukuthi manje singawenza njani. Then we eventually agreed to maybe let it be a public-private partnership ngoba siyayifuna into maybe okathi in terms of finances we were not yet ready to initiate this thing. So we need someone to assist us. Such as advertiser tender through the government gazette. Into the yaqalisa way back in 2020. I think if I'm not mistaken, financial gazette yaphuma umhla 20 January 2020. And then we signed the news. I think currently yaphuma umhla 24 June. I think it was a Friday if I'm not mistaken. 2020. Sasicela expressions of interest. Should there be anyone out there who is interested in assisting council to implement a parking management system, atshengise interest yakhe through that advert. So sayifaka government gazette as stipulated by the law, sayifaka la newspaper circulator ke khonapha koBulawayo. I-act ke esiguidayo ku-procurement of public-private partnerships kuthiwa yi-Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency Act. So esalandela yona ke sacela expressions of interest. Sathola a total of 10 bidders or firms that showed interest in this thing. We evaluated those expressions of interest. Sacela sesile shortlist year 7. Where now we asked those 7 to actually submit detailed proposals that included the technical part and the financial part. We are here from 4 organizations. So our evaluator, Sacina sesiphume lo Tendy as the firm that actually provided the most suitable proposal. Because remember ntesi kaitwa Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency Act. In terms of the act, mase liba identify laba bantu kumele ke lilayeze le unit okuthiwa public-private Partnership Unit, which is also a branch of that agency, that includes Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency. So there is a unit in that particular agency which looks at public-private partnerships. So I refer to that unit. So submit evaluation reported with our recommendation. Then number documents that these bidders had submitted. So that unit also does its own independent evaluation. So they followed our evaluation report. They also did their own checks and balances. Eventually, that unit, of course, does not make the final decision. Maybe let me mention that it does not make the final decision. The matter, then after that unit, if they have evaluated or gone through or reviewed your report, they take the matter further to a public-private partnership committee, which is made up of permanent secretaries of various ministries. In this case, it included our own ministry, the Minister of Local Government. Of course, there would be the Minister of Finance. So that committee is made up of basically permanent secretaries. So it was referred to them. They also reviewed it. We were also, of course, called in here and there. We asked to answer, clarify issues, which we did. Then eventually the matter was taken to the cabinet, which is the final authority. The cabinet approved that arrangement. Then we entered into an agreement with Tendy. I think you were in Namala.
Yeah, so I like the way that you really gave the background. And for those who are listening, and I think you remember with the issue parking of Bulawayo, I think about 2012, then there was a court case that took about 12 years, and then that's when they advertised. So I've seen some people on Twitter saying the bid was never advertised. I think then bese ngibuya kuwe Mabuza. Who is Mabuza? Because I've heard ukuthi ngabantu abavele eGoli afuna uzothatha imali yethu lapha libuyele khona ngale.
Ndebele lababukeli uMabuza uyinzalo yalapha. Nxa sithi inzalo lapha mina ngifunde lapha eNorthly koBulawayo. Ngingumuntu behlala emadonkini ephumula abanengi siyakwazi. Sengiqedile-ke uform 6 wami ngabe sengiyafunda ngaphi eWits University South Africa. Ekuqedeni kwami ngase ngithola umsebenzi khona ngale ngasebenza njenga wonke umuntu nje osuka esiya ngaphi esiye eGoli. Kodwa angikhohlwa ngekhaya umuntu lokho ehamba nebuya inkaba yakithi kwaMabuza iseradanyane ekhezi. Yikho kithi lapho. So akusiki ukuthi umuntu nxa esebenza South Africa usengumuntu wangaphi wakhona ngala akusi parking kuphela siyenza ngapha eZimbabwe ngoBulawayo kunenge sikwenza ngoba vele sira namabhizinisi ahlukahlukeneyo kodwa eqiniso lokuphila ukuthi uMabuza ngwalapha koBulawayo efunde khona lapha ngapha eNorthly ehlala ephumula.
Maybe there is a confusion because we Tendy, South Africa and all these kind of things. Ngama company afana nayo kumbe ngama company achiyeneyo alebizwe lefana nayo.
Ngumbuzo omuhle lo. So kungaba into ebingacaswa ngokhumalo kodwa kangihlelekile. Kanti u-Tendy vele ngoba nomonayo ngingakayi mhlambe sengihambe phambili kwembuzo yakho. U-Tendy ulama director awalapha eZimbabwe. Company eregister lapha eZimbabwe njalo information public umuntu uyazela ku register ama companies athi ukuthi company le yebo iqiniso ngiyalapha yini. I-contract ekhona iphakathi kwa Tendy Zimbabwe le Bulawayo City Council. Tendy we South Africa akala any contract anayo le City of Bulawayo njalo akusunguye owaye responda kuma expression of interest la khulunywa ngawo. U-City of Bulawayo uthi ngifuna ukuthi umuntu umsebenzi kodwa kumele abe le capacity njalo abe le technology engizafika ngivume ukuthi ngempela izasebenza. Yikho lapho ngena khona ubani uMabuza uthi hayi mina ngiseGoli i-technology level ezinjani silayo. So into eSouth African kulo budlelano lobo yikuthi imchina le mali esebenza ngayo ivela ngaphi ivele South Africa ibuya lo bani ibuya lo Mabuza. uMabuza ovele yini engu chairman wani owe Tendy. so angazi umbe ngiyayicacisa kahle khona lapho Ndebele.
Ngiyakuzwa ngoba they've been, we've had seen social media abantu besithi it's a South African company, to the extent abantu besithi no, we should dudula them ngoba bafuna uzothatha imali, so kumalo mbuzisise futhi lapho ukuthi lina you did your due diligence and labona ukuthi these guys are Zimbabwean and akula anything, so they're not foreigners.
Yes, we did that, Mr. Ndebele. To the extent ukuthi ancho, our public-private partnerships, I think if we follow the history of them, lokungana amanye ayafeyila maybe at inception stage, amanye aqalisa afeyile, mainly because lokunganitwa issue funding iba problem. So ke lapha sasikhangele those proposals in terms of funding and the equipment that these guys are proposing, are they capable of doing that? So funding base yabo kuyilaba omabosa kwaba clear size due diligence lesa sabona ukuthi these people really have got the capacity to implement this project. Siyenza sonke silabantu beZimbabwe Development Agency.
Yeah, maybe ngibuze futhi khona lapho kuwe nxa lisithi public private partnership, I know it's between council and them, ancho. So is there a time where these guys, does it work like a BOT?
Okay, in actual fact, it is a build, operate and transfer arrangement. So initially, in terms of the contract that we have, this partnership is supposed to go for 6 years, right? Then, of course, in between, the agreement says the system has got to be upgraded maybe at the end of year 3. Because we know what our systems now are obsolete in general, so the agreement states what right is a review after 6 years. But before we get to the 6th year anyway, after 3rd year, we are going to buy upgrade the system, and then after 6 years, this is a review. Is this partnership, is it worth continuing with the partnership? Similar, but of course it's dependent on a number of things. Remember, Tendy came in with their investment in the form of the whole system, and they are supposed to recoup that investment. So besides my projections are which maybe at the end of year 6 bazabe seberecouping, but siyabe monitor bonke lokho ngenze ukuthi ingane izinto zingamovi as well as they were planned to. So the bottom line is umuntu angafaka public-private partnership, angafaka imali yakhe, kumele ukuthi recoup investment yakhe le. So the long and short of it is a review at the end of the 6th year. Sibona ukuthi simina. Nxa sesikuthi ayisesithi are parting ways, we will do that. The new city of Bulawayo anjani abesethatha over. This thing is not meant to last forever. So it's a build, operate and transfer arrangement.
Mabuza, I mean, we have had the concerns with our dollar liyadura kakhulu. How did you come up with $1?
Ngithanda ukuthi inyoka ngiyiphonsela uNdlovu. U23 akusunguyo charge imali. Thina we are in technology partner. Kanti uBulawayo nguye obuya lama bylaw akhe. So sifita into ama bylaw kabani? Aka City of Bulawayo akula mthetho esitshintsha sivunyelwa vele. So ngicela ukuthi uNdlovu ayibeke ukuthi kanti $1 isiwa ngapi. Ote mfuna ucace emphakathini ukuthi asithe sithatha imali yokuthi sibhadala malini ngehour. Asithe sithi thina bake basithethe sabe sithi $1 for 30 minutes. So kuyi $1 per hour. Konke lokhiyana kubanjwa yi-town planning. I-town planning iyayenza kuthiwa yi-zoning of the city. Ithi la kulama peak hour demand, la kulama prime demand, lama off peak hour demand abekwa kanjalo ama parking spaces. So kuthiwa i-peak hour demand yiyo ebhadaliswa malini every 30 minutes. Yikho ngoba le outcry lapha sasithina sifithe nje into how the city is demarcated according to ukuthi ama price akhona ame njani. Kodwa abanikazi bama price mu city council.
Ndlovu ngizakubuza then bese of course sizagcina sikhuluma clamping, but maybe akusinike beef background before iTTT buya iTTT ayibuya kanti vele bekupakwa njani
Thank you Mr. Ndebele. Can I take you back to the late 90s when you used to have parking meters lana yellow, whereby people used to insert coins from the range of 5 cents, 10 cents. The maximum was 20 cents. You were pushing in that coin. If you would need a time equivalent to that coin, but $1 vele those coins wawufithela a number of coins ezakunika i-1 hour for $1. Then kwaba lama economic developments abakhona ama-coins ethu agcina se-obsolete.
Is 14 esakhula ngama-2000 ngokubuza kwamba so kulo muntu ehamba evula izinto ezanithatha amadola.
Ekuseni what we were doing, ama-meters lana ayelamagabha ayi-8 elama-keys. So ekuseni ama-parking assistants ayefike one-lot. Then abantu bazabuya bephaka ngo-12 babuye ba-collect, replace. Then after hours again, same procedure. But then like I'm saying, ama-coins aphela. Bazoba lama-denominations ama-50 cents. $1. That's when we changed. If you remember, it was a meter per parking bay. Every parking bay offered a meter per meter. Then eventually, some move on. Was ama meters are electronic. Those meters were taking a certain number of bays. For instance, it could take, say, 6 ngapha, 6 ngapha, maximum of say up to 15. And then you could insert 50 cents or 20 cents ayengasafu ufake $1. Then it went on agcina lawo futhi ama-meters kana the economic situation sengasasebenzi. We moved on again. So introduce a 30-minute parking zone, which was the core of the CPD. So that's only 1 hour parking zone, the second. And then it was only 2 hour, which was the external. In 30 minutes, sasi painting a red. You find uti yai is zone, city red zone. It was at the heart, at the core of the city. Then elandelayo yai green. Then engaphandle yai yellow. We introduced what we called prepaid parking meters for all the zones. And if you calculate the charge of parking ticket, let me say, parking ticket is 30 minutes, it's 1 hour, it's 2 hours, this is monthly. Now, these 30 minutes, I lay 1 hour and 2 hours, okay, I booklet 25 leaflets. And then sets over the disk, which is single now, only 1 month, less 5, only 3 months. And the lower only 1 month, the 3 months as the quarterly. They were sold pro rata. We buy it today, 3 months, we calculate the next 90 days. Right? Fine. If you calculate the time aspect of it, you realize what it was always $1. But then we had a challenge as to where members of the public were supposed to buy notice. As far as I said, it's what distributor, what decentralized items in a revenue. So it was not convenient enough for everyone who was moving, who was coming from the external side of the city. Or when you have a crosser from Malala, and so forth. We were left with no choice but to further develop equal access code. And the best umgela futhi kancane ngithi kulawana parking meters amadala in as much ayisebenza sabuya kulana ngithe electronic revenue collection yethu yayingekho nhle. You could find a lot of people sesibanike tickets for failing to pay for their parking time. Because that was an issue of selling parking time. Then la issues our clamping, I say violations. Violations now set into parking was slightly bay, loading zone, 7 meters from a corner, washing a motor vehicle from the road, repairing a motor vehicle on the road. All in all, there are around 57 violations in Kulmanga, as per statutory instrument 63 of 2015. Now you find that apart from revenue collection yethu iyayingekho that good enough. Sasinika abantu ama-tickets by then izimota zazibhadala ama-licenses ku-city council. Ama-policies atshintsha with time, atshintsha ama-policies. Abantu baqalisa ukuyabhadala e-POSB here and there, kwavula ama-offices, kwagcina sekunama-general offices. Kwakulula kithi ukuthi umuntu owayo azobhadala mhla ezothelela imota, the policy was or the practice was uqala ukliya ama-privilege ama-outstanding fines akho, then usuza license imota. But because of policy, it literally failed. Now we have to think again. We still need to maintain order in the city. We still need to make revenue for us to be able to develop these roads. How do we come up with something that is modern? That was an idea esabalayo eyagcina ilethe ukuthi sibe le-parking management esilithi ukuthi namhlanje sibe lo-TTI. Lanxa wawungasiyo leyo ngabe vele namhlanje silomuni. But then let me say, the advantage of having a parking management system of this nature now. As a seller problem with the washing of cars on the road, mind those people will be using our detergents. Our detergents, soap in Aliana is against the construct of the road. Because all it does is it separates our granules lana, lead bitumen, and then literally umwakosofil. And the washing of that, of the vehicles, the seven summer soap, mind ba, the mavili balendle about our work is an fan. The road line marking it suffers a lot. And then, again, each challenge ever see live, you will find that people who come to the city center park their vehicles as early as 4 or 5 in the morning. Umuntu across ayota Mozambique, sorry, eMessina. Umuntu ayota eBotswana, uzabuya imoto ithatha ngo-8 ntambama. If you look at our areas, as khona ama-shops avala late, njalo okay, you could always find them busy, occupied, nxa ukhangele ngelihlo. Yet you find ukuthi people abaphakela phana vele kabakho. They are elsewhere. Bazilethela phana for sort of security, if I were to put in quotes. But now, we are saying the parking management base should be used interchangeably. Come, do what you are doing, go, omunye abuye. And then, the outcry le khona nge-business community, ama-plans vele esilawo, our town planning at the city of Bulawayo, like any other city, there is what we call the on-site parking. Akula plan approval go CPD ingela on-site parking. Ulama basement, ulama parking packets, but each challenges esilayo, but maybe it's because of the economic situation. Amanye search into a trip yamabawa, you will find amanye sell storage rooms whatsoever. But if you were to come early in the morning, ungena as a citizen, you look at the volume of vehicular traffic, you will find that they will all be swallowed into the city. They will be there, but not in my parking base. So, kangela order that the parking management has brought now. Kangela cleanliness. Asila stretch away up. But can you look at the portion as a carving, whoever now comes into the city center, see the sense of security. You can park your vehicle in the laptop here now, it's not a problem. And now it has brought our clients who are now having a challenge of coming to town, especially if you look at our eastern suburbs. They used to have a challenge in coming to town. Was I made a parker in motor at a distance, okay. Yes, we do have malls, but I don't think we measure like cities like maybe in other countries like South Africa. But now, believe you me, the parking management system has brought a clientele from across the city now to the CPD.
Okay, so abantu bayo city ama parking bays are empty when bayabuya uzamphendula lapho. But we wanted to follow up on the issue on site parking. You said according to design ye city, akula muntu ole shop umbi business omele evele business town engela on site parking, meaning you are not supposed to park in the pavement uzungena shop yakho lapho.
You can park outside, let me not say on the pavement, on the road.
Okay. Go in front of the
In
shop.
front of the shop. You can park battle for your parking time. Tina, we are in the business of selling parking time. But what I'm saying is, every building, every designer corner, ile on-site parking. So we expect people, our Zenzele, say, if I were to say NRZ building, look at how many parking packets they have there, floors up. Staff sabo sonke siyangena sepaka phambili. Bazi baba le access eyabapakisa everyone at a cost. You go to you go to any other building, there is on-site parking. Ulama basement, ulama backyard. That is what we are emphasizing. Lina, our occupier that building, please use that parking and leave this other parking for everyone. The city is wide, it's industry and commerce. We've got visitors, we've got everyone. Let those people come and use. But people may say our parking bays are empty. Why? The parking time is now forcing people to come for business and go. In other countries, let's agree with you don't just take a car to town. You go for business and then leave the town. Would you guys exchange
Yeah, I'll follow up with two other interesting questions. You talked about the cleanliness. I've observed ukuthi go happening slide lapana opposite small city hall. Kulokule chaos yama Honda Fit lapana and Mabuza mbaboni lapana. Is there preferential treatment? Tina siyabhadaliswa owindi bayayekelwa. Wathi ngathi owindi abama Honda Fit bayayekelwa lapha.
Thank you. There are two issues. Let me differentiate them. There is the aspect of parking time. There is the issue of violations. You'll find that Honda Fit lapana, they pay for parking time. Nxa ese violator se lota abantu, se lota parking bay. That parking bay is now not meant for a public service vehicle. We consider those according to the laws of the country. Those are non-public service vehicles. For public service vehicles, we have designated terminal. We have got designated legal pickup points, of which they're supposed to come, pick their passengers and go. And the designated ones are painted in yellow. But what these Honda Fit guys do is, they will come, park anywhere, pay for that parking time. And then in no time they load their people and go, which is a violation. I know at the moment it's not easy. We also have to respect the laws of the country, like we're not supposed to use our spikes. It's a cat and mouse issue. Siyababopa, and so forth. But mbonani with time we're going to win. Especially if we were to move away from this COVID issue. Can we agree again with COVID is partly our challenges in the case of a public transportation? We have got a very nice public transport policy, of which I think even the government loves it very much to an extent to which I'm aware with it. They are making a lot of references now as we go. And since so well a pronouncement of the public transport since I said a challenge it has been announced at that level, but on a statutory perspective, as we're hoping very soon something. If we were to have a public transport, I mind if I talk more of a public transport. In the case of Zimbabwe, we're talking more from taxi cabs. We're talking of them being licensed or renewable operators licenses out. But like I said, challenges now as a city, for instance, I'm a combis. Like now the pronouncement we are unable to give them a route authority. My government will give them operators licenses. If VIT will certify those vehicles. But it was supposed to give them a route authority as a city. But now kuna a challenge on a policy framework not. As guy then if ama combi were to be back, ama buses are going to very public transportation. I believe the issue for Honda Fits is about it may be difficult to eradicate, but I don't foresee any challenge in as much as he control over them is concerned.
Okay, maybe umbuzo omunye ongaba ukhayile wena. There are some areas at town where kuyabungamagwanga but abantu bepake then they end up being claimed. For example, a Magnet House or between the Toyota and Magnet House. We center parking look. We've had people complaining with bafika bapaka kona bana babe claimed. But agula ma marking, agula ma marshal. how can people be helped there?
Thank you. In as much as we do claim around, if someone parks outside a defined area, a parking area, we are saying a parking bay is an area demarcated by white boundary lanes, either solid or broken. That's the definition of a parking bay. If a parking bay now becomes yellow painted, in as much as it is a parking bay, it tells us something different. It's now not for public use. It's either it's a taxi bay, it's a loading zone, it's an ambulance bay, it's an invalid parking bay, those for the disabled, and many others will be reserved. So I understand Uti, we had some glamping outside Magnet House. Mind Uti, as a city, we also respect our security organizations. People would go there, I figure about parking 7 meters less, less than 7 meters from a corner. They were there from Lapis Fire Corner parking, a management system. Mind the so cars had to move, see what total upon my entrances block gate. Obviously it will attract clamping. But we emphasize with our parking bays that are demarcated. Go to now stretch of the road only clear parking bays, as long as you are not less than 7 meters from a corner, as long as you are not blocking a gate clearly demarcated, reserved, or no parking in front of the gate. According to town planning yet, according to our design, there is no reason for me to be claimed. But if you violate all those things, obviously we get claimed. Look at Central Police. Outside there we've got yellow marked parking bays reserved for police. Look at Southampton, we do have such. Look at Trade Gold. Look at the reserving. They are clear. I agree with the Magnet House as a fee, but hopefully it's a very soon. We don't claim abantu bengaviolate bylaws. That one no.
Okay. Hayi kuyacaca kwe-parking lokho. So Mabuza izinto phela lapho ezabe abuza accused isuwe. Ngukhumalo noNdlovu. Maybe let me come to your partnership. Abantu bathi wena u30 kk elikhulu. Ngobuye kubulawa wathatha 70% onke wahamba la eGoli. Ewatshela ucancel 30%.
Ngiyabonga leli thuba vele bengicabanga ukuthi umbuzo lo uzawubuza ukuze sicacise ebantwini. Ndebele uthe iBOT ubaba Khumalo. iBOT ngiyimvamisa ukuthi vele investor uyayenza athi nxa seqedwe uthatha imali yakhe avisele kubanikazi. Kodwa thina ngoba idorobha ngalethi silithatha hayi lingahlali khatshana sifundlani libe linjani libe lithola as we move on as much as singakanjani singakayi transfer. So u7030 loyana abanengi bakhuluma mhlambe ngenzondo kumbe they choose to be ignorant ngabomo ekubeni iqiniso liobala liyakhanya. Kathesi ngikhuluma kanje siqhatha abasebenzi abangu200. I-system is only a 35% rollout. Salary bill yethu is easily about 11 million RTG. In this kind of environment, vele salary yethu is usually about 30% of your revenue collector. It's a labor intensive environment ngoba ulama parking marshal, each and every 15 bays is covered by a parking marshal. So there is warm bodies amanengi okumela njani ahole. Imali leyo ayisaphumi 30% becancel 30% yakho. Thina kulo 70% oseleyo sizabhadala ama salary, sizathenga idatha, simaintain ama systems, sicover ama overheads. Uthola ukuthi i-profitability esala khona laphana is hardly 20-25% esalayo. And singakhohle ukuthi uinvestor nxa efika asihlandanga bethi sifake imali kwesotha imali elifakile isibuya kuphela. Ngithi kumele kube le return. If we investor you put a certain percentage of a return angithi. So we are not making super profits. Asibuya ngizibona abanye bathi uNdlovu uvuka ka1. Akulandi njalo.
Kumbe sivuke kudala.
Awuvuka ka1 ngoba ama salary manengi kumele sibhadale amasalari, kumele silungise imchina, kumele sithenge idata esiyithengayo phakathi khona lapha it's about 7% of our revenue. Ifoni eyodwa ngenyanga idla idata engafika kwesinye isikhathi 4 gig. Uyithenga ngamalini? Sengikhuluma ngomchina owodwa oyise ngapha futhi kule minye imchina esetshenziswayo eyama POS machines abirentwe ebank ngoba thina singu Tendy 3 we are not a financial services provider. Asivunyelwe ukuthi samukele imali yamukela ngamabank abalama FSP license. So athola sile partnership lani lama bank thizeni la kule ndleko eziya kuwo for rendering that service. Aphuma kungapi? Ku 70% naliyana. Kodwa ngingathuki sengikhuluma nje iqiniso ku platform yakho site. Okunye is mischievous and deliberate misinformation of the public ukuthi ba insight abantu ukuthi ake likhangele ukuthi i-council isithutha njani. Hayi asosithutha. U-council as I speak wenza imali enengulami ngaleyo 30% yakhe ngoba yena kalani akalazo zonke indleko lezi enginazo mina. Kuthengwa ama uniform, kwenziwa konke lokho, ama expenses lawa akhangelene nami. Uthe yena kuthiwa in each and every 3 years mfuna elaborate i-contract yami ithi every 3 years kumele ngirenew i-system. 3 yaqala le 3 yesibili. All those are massive capital injections. They won't come anywhere from the council. Aphuma ngaphi? Give me futhi mina Tendy 3. So ngicela ukucaca ukuthi akula muntu orojiweyo abantu bathu council ye corruption uyisithutha cha. I-project le isuka 100% roll out sizabalanta more than 500. Ngabo bhuti bethu ngabo sisi bethu bengikhuluma kwenye program nje kusengisithi yebo isalary yabantu imfihlo ayivamisa ngikhuluma kodwa kwesikhathi kuze si dispel that notion. Okwakathesi abantu bethu bahola 90,000 RTG ngenyanga i-gross yabo. Sikhambisana ne-inflation ukuthi inflation lokisiwa sesivumelene futhi siyiboard ye-TTI ukuthi kule nyanga ezayo abahole 110,000 RTG ngani ngenyanga i-gross leyo. Kodwa kumele bekwazi ukuthi nxa umuntu esebenze 10 days kambe kebe kulunga ukuthi ahole imali enyanga yonke. So imali eyifakwa kanjalo ukuthi umuntu aze emsebenzini nxa ethe walova wangezi uzahamba uyebuza umsebenzi umuntu uhole emalini athi hayi banginike 45,000 usubuya unisithi 23 uholisa abantu futhi acha kunjalo. Si very compliant, sebenza le NASA, sebenza le NEC, silama deduction eNASA, awe NEC, abo AIDS levy, abo Zimra, konke lokhu njenge company esebenza above board siya comply lapho. So ngithanda ukuthi umphakathi ungaze wakha phezulu ulalele laba futhi baxove udaba lolu ekubeni alumanga njalo. Ngiyabonga Ndebele.
Hayi ngiyabonga ukuchasisa kwakho lapha ukuthi mashallah olwedlula amapolice anyway. So it's good progress oyenzayo. Abantu bese besithi I've had arguments, people saying, you know, $1 is a lot. Are people really paying $1 or?
No, that's a good question, and I thank you for this platform to clarify. Into eyisimanga, we collect 92% of our revenue in local currency. Ukusizwe manje bakhala ngani ngoba iningi labo babhadala nge-eco cash, babhadala nge-RTG. Kathesi thina si company formal asebenza nge-black market rate. I-rate yethu yi-interbank rate esebenza ngayo. Iningi labantu babhadala nge-local currency. Without revealing information kodwa asomfihlo, we hardly collect 1,000 hard cash dollars ngelanga. The rest of the money yabini ingama bond. So ungawubuzanga lalowo mbuzo bese kuthiwa bathatha imali bayisesa ayikho ndilesente sese South Africa ngoba imali ethini i-local yibubuhle ukuthi i-investor kube ngumuntu owa local o-understand njalo ama-dynamics angapi a-local. Ngila sizathu mina sokukhipha imali ngibisesa ngoba ekhaya khona lapha. Imali lekhona lapha nxa ukuthi kumele ngithole yami kumele ngisebenze ngapi khona lapha futhi. Akufana lo muntu othi ngifaka imali yami ngilethe imali engaka ngicela enjani ibuye. Silayo investment certificate ebuya kuzida kodwa we have never participated in any auction whatsoever ukuthi hayi cala isinika $1 amangaka sifuna ukuwakhipha asisebenze ngaleyo ndlela. And ndifuna umphakathi ubekwazi ukuthi it's barely $1,000 on a daily basis esikoleta. The rest is local currency.
Ngiyabonga ukuthi ucacisile khompana. I think sesibuzile into eziningi. I'll end asking with the press statement ezolo. But before I get that, uNdlovu uthwa nguye council. Ndlovu sike sa complain lapha ukuthi na yafika lifaka ama meter ungela mgwaqo khona. Kumbe okwakwaba lo mgwaqo esikhathi Smith. So what are you doing to make sure ukuthi lami nxa ngifika lapha ngipaka iMercedes Benz yami kumbe iPrado kube kulama line bese ngibhadala ngiyena ungacomplain? Phela sengani impaka ephumula emadonke.
Thank you very much. If you look at the area that we have covered, we have done a lot in terms of resuscitating roads. In as much as the economy is this bad, I would simply say 90 to 95% of the area where we are collecting now in terms of this partnership is in a good state, fairly good state. Yes, I saw on social media Lama base Amaluchwani outside Greens. And I think our Environment Services Department will be working on that. In marking on that area, under e-parking management was done in compliance to statutory instrument 63 of 2015. How can we collect revenue? But it's not as bad as people are saying. If you go to other cities that I will not mention, they are far behind us in terms of state of the road, especially heart of the CBD. And as we have started, people should appreciate what starting at 28 February, but look at how beautiful the city is now in terms of the road surface itself, in terms of road line marking, in terms of how we are cleaning the heart of the CBD. So as we spread, I'm seeing us building a lot.
Yeah. Lastly, I think sesixoxile imibuzo ayipheli labantu vele bazayotshana belayo. So I think the conversation can continue on Facebook, on Twitter ababe le mibuzo. My last question is Izolo, or let's say Izolo spone a memo or a press statement where you're saying now you're going to transfer, abantu can transfer their base. Abantu bese besithi khona, what about prepaid parking, what about the elderly, what about the pensioner, list continue, what about the umuntu ovele ekhaya, what about the mapestere, the list keeps growing. But maybe along those issues, what can you say about what you're doing?
Engithanda ukuthi ukuthi thina siyicompany yabo Bulawayo, we identify ourselves vele labantu babo Bulawayo, yiko esifuna baku understand kona ukuthi siyabe sizubuhlungu kakhulu nxa abafowethu sebesichaya ekubeni kumele siqondisane ngesintu kakhulu abantu besifazane sasithi umama wahelelwayo engathola umntwana kamakhelwane echaya lapha nakafiki la ngene la chaya angithi kodwa ufika kanjani axazulula kanjani alamula abantu bakithi esintwini siyawazi ngabantu abazothileyo lokho akufani lathi kodwa imbono egenuine ephume ebantwini lathi siyabe singalaleli masisiza abantu bakithi bekhala singayilungisi yebo okunye kuvele kusehlelweni ukuthi ngesikhathi esiningi siyabe silapha. For example, kulama prepaid cards abuyayo whereby umuntu uzaload ikhadi lakhe engasadingi ukuthi kanjani abuye phethe imali, abuye lekhadi lakhe mayifela pha ikhadi lakhe uyathepha emtshineni wethu ithi like ikhadi lakhe imali ayisebenzisileyo. All those things are in the pipeline. Kulama concerns avela kuma organization ahlukahlukeneyo abanye siwafunda kuma press abanye sihlale nabo phansi, ibhura esihlalise phansi yasifaka a task ukuthi kanti lapha ukuhamba njani. Ibhupra nayo kuyaba le press conference yayo yafaka eminye imbono nxa singabantu abalalelayo, we don't rubbish those ngabantu abarepresenta umphakathi and imbono eyaphuma ngapha ebantwini. Bakhalile abantu bathi bona idola yami kangithi ngingaphuma kule parking bay le ngingene kwelandelayo ungifune futhi enye $1 ngahamba amabay angu5 ngehour eyodwa ngizabhatala $5 kambe singu-23 into enjalo singayikhangela sithi into le bayahlanya asingeke siwe njalo. Yikho sithe hayi ibihle izaba khona kodwa sijujumezela imasinyane benjani ihle ibe khona into le within a space of 2 weeks i-development economy siyenziwe. Kumele understand ukuthi this is a system, akusinto nje ukuthi ungapho ngiyitshintsha nje masinyane. Uyadevelopa i-test kwesikhathi crash system until ufike ngabe sethi njani step la zero learning out ke. I-statement sayizolo besikhuluma ngamalana ukuthi hayi silizwile liyakhala sesikwenzile ke ukuthi $1 yakho leyana uyisebenze noma yikuphi within that 1 hour. Ungangena FBC bank kwenzayo 20 minutes uqede uphume futhi uthi ngisayenandosi uphume futhi uthi mhlambe ngezimra umbe ngiyangaphi. Within that 1 hour you are not going to be charged. That's what we're trying to explain kuleya press conference, and it's all in an effort silalela abantu bakhala besithini. Kukhona ezinye izikhalo abantu abazibekayo sithi bantu silizwile linanzela ukuthi environment esidila ngayo igavela ngama bylaws. Asonto nje ungavuka itshintshe kuseni besibuzana ama pensioners ngize ngathi nxa siletha i-donation laphana ngathi lami unembeza wami kawuvumi ukuthi ngithi umuntu omdala 70 years ohola imali eNASA ngimbhadalise iparking. Kodwa it's not a decision kabani ekamabuza ubeka Tendy 3 decision ekumele senze collectively lowani lo mqhathi wethu i-council. Council singaya adjusta yini leya bylaw ethi wonke umuntu kumele abhadale. Bengathi kunjalo sesifaka usystem sabalanda akhona ama organizations vele aba pensioners. Can you give us ama pensioners le mota zabo siba enter ku system uparking marshal ngathi uyafaka inamba ku system iyale ithi mota le is what is exempted ngoba engabhadaliswa. Konke kasi kuzwile uCouncil athi yena iparking ngeyawo wonke umuntu akula muntu okumele abe le reserved parking. Kona futhi abanye abantu ngizaqamba ngibe direct kuphuma umbono umdala uIsets lapha thengisa khona along uJoshua Nkomo uyakhala ukuthi mina ngizafika lapha ngo6 kumbe ngifike ngo7 ngizaphuma ngo6 o'clock vele iparking engila engapi iphambi kwesitolo sami. Sikhule thina sithenga ama-FM ko-Esset la ku-Hasa Miles izinto lezi zazo zenza kodwa kambe sesingathi thina abantu abanjalo with those genuine requests masiwakhangele singahlala phandle council sikhulumisane sizingathi angifuni ukufaka i-council on the spot vele iparking engaphandle yonke ngiyani ngiye-council kodwa singabantu esifuna ukuthi sibe flexible kwezinye izinto sizibambe ngendlela yokuthini sihambanini sonke labantu bakithi. Amanye ama-backyard sebaconverte kwaba yi-industry because of economy yethu. They are no longer being used as public spaces. Solely we cannot persecute abantu ukuthi indawo lana selikanikele izimota kuyo mselesenzana bekumele ngalibhaka izimota. Yikho ukukhulumisana siyakwenza kodwa asambenini sonke sibonisana singaze salwa. Kulabantu abaningi abathi icompany sibulala ibusiness angithanda ukuthi sikhulume sengathi mhlambe siyaphikisana besiyalwa. Mina ngimbone esiphuma kwabanye abantu ukuthi hayi thina ngokuba qini kanje siyabona sokungena abantu abazothenga. Umuntu befika phake lapha phambi ko okay asihambele kumbe emasweni ozobuya after 5 days echimota ke phambi kwako okay. Kambe ukhona umuntu ongafika ko okay afika azothenga for 10 hours kodwa iyabe tingane. The parking system is meant to rotate imota, is meant to Bulawayo according to the due diligence ile mota ezingu 200,000 and we've got only 7,200 parking spaces. So a parking system is meant ukuthi wonke umuntu onjani akhululeke ukuthi angafika athole indawo yokuphaka. Siyazi ukuthi lapha esiqale khona it is normal behavior ukuthi abantu badizete, but as we are fixing imigwaqo uCouncil lungisa imigwaqo singena yonke indawo, people are going to be spread all over. Ukusuka kwabantu edrobheni abantu bangakumisconstrue njengokuthi mhlambe abantu they are deserting iparking. No, yebo as a normal person nami nginje ngingaso 23 bengeke ngiphake lapho zokubhadalwa khona. Kodwa into esitsho ukuthi sizama ukuthi imphakathi asambenini sonke kukhubeka ohambayo amaphutha nxa esenzeka asiwaqondizaneni sonke ngobuntu singaqondizani ngokuzondana asinanzele ukuthi ngoba abafundi basihole basi-incite ukuthi sibe violent. Abanye they are now taking this opportunity banjani bayi-politicize. Abanye bakhampeleka ngabakhansela abanye bafuna ngabo-MP usefuna ukhampela nge-opportunity le yi-project yakobulawayo. Ngithe mina udirector on-demand thina as Tendy 3 nathi sothatha iside lomphakathi sikubambe accountable emalini esikunika yona ukuthi uyalungisa yini imigwaqo. Nxa engalungi imigwaqo sibuka ukuthi imali iyangaphi. Ngikhuluma kumanje angazi ube council ngivumelekile kodwa is a public statement. City Council sithola imali engafika almost 30 million RTG. Ngama US dollar imali esingale kobo 35,000 what US dollars. Angithi project is only at 35% rollout. It's still moving on. I support any project lay. Lapho esikhala khona we are opening ama channels of communication abo Twitter, abo Instagram, abo Facebook. Siyafaka le call center kube le line abantu abangafona kube bebe lezikhalaza zabo kodwa sithi abantu bakithi alingasilwisi nxa kuphuma thina kumele bekwazi ukuthi kungena enye company yabanye abantu engeke lithanda. Thina amongst all those angifuna ukuthi ngiziqhenye kodwa ngifuna libekwazi ukuthi we are pretty much the only local company eyasubmit tender leyana. Nxa kungayisithi kanti kufuna kungena obani. And into engikhulumayo mina engikhulumayo I am an IT project manager ngeprofession yami into engiyaziyo asikuthi siyathandabuza kumbe sizama ukuthi senze i-bush mechanic into esiyenzayo into elomsoco. This is a smart system. Undlovu uthi ehleze office lakhe akhangele ku screen abekwazi ukuthi ngile moto ezindake esibhake edorobheni namhlanje njengakathesi zingake sezibhadele. Abe town planning bathola i-MIS ebasiza ukuthi bangaplana njani idolobha labo. Yiyo i-system esiyifakileyo bazatshela ukuthi abafaka ama-cell phone bakholeta imali. It's not a cell phone, it's a system elobuchwepheshe obuphezulu kakhulu ezayengezelelwa ngokufaka futhi ini i-CCTV to try and monitor and keep our city clean. Yonke into ihambe ngomumo ubulawayo buye to the former glory esiyaziyo. Ngicela bana ngicine lapha eBaba Ndebele.
Zenzele Mabuza, I like the passion and talking about it. Today I'm not going to talk about the videos and because I've always expressed my concerns. But it's a debate for another day because we do have issues of privacy and all those kind of things. And I hope TTI, Lobabo Security, they will help to protect us, not to expose us. So on that note, Bengilo Baba, Undlovu, Lobabu Kumalo, Lobabu Mabuza, Vele City Council, le TTI, Labrate Skulma Kona, the issue of parking. I hope that most of the questions that we have been answered. TTI is there on Twitter, City Council is there on Twitter. You can take them and ask some of the questions where you think maybe Leo, I asked Tengwanga. Babuyile nje voluntarily sibacelile ngoba kubulawa kule system ukuthi ayilabezwa sebethengiwe njalo asithengeki elami ibizo nguZenzele Ndebele libe lilanga elihle.